What is up, guys? Welcome to Garage 23, and today we're working on Project Attack Titan. Doing some maintenance and maybe some fancy new wheels. Let's get started. All right, so if you're thinking the Titan looks a little different than it used to, it's because it's a whole different truck. Huh? Yeah, that first one was dog water, so we sold it, and coincidentally, we bought this one for less than we bought that one for, which is a little annoying. But regardless, that one's gone, and we got this much better starting point. It's 1 year older, it's an 04, but it's a 4x4, and it's the correct color, and it's already slightly lifted, although the tires are shot, power steering shot, something else was broken, but I forgot what it was. Anyway, in the meantime, we haven't really recorded some stuff, but we did a whole 2013 plus interior upgrade on it. LED taillights, newer style headlights. Actually, this front end was from the other Titan. It was too nice to leave on that one, so I put it on this one and it fits pretty well. But the main issue is that our steering rack, oh, that's right. One of the tie rods on the steering rack is just straight up bent. It doesn't really drive straight. That is the main reason we're doing brand new steering rack, along with brand new outer tie rods and new fluid, because this thing pukes so much that I've just been putting regular power steering fluid in it, which you're not supposed to. Pro tip, Nissans use Dexron III ATF. So we got some new fluid, and hopefully this goes smoothly. So let's get started. So for this job, you're gonna need a BFH, crest wrench, some sort of pliers, a 22 millimeter wrench, which I only have this double-sided one, so that's fine. 22 millimeter socket, 14 millimeter wrench, and 14 millimeter sockets and ratchet, and one dowel for moral support. Anyway, so usually I would say step one is jack up the car, but I think we can actually do this without lifting the truck at all, so let's give that a shot. First thing though is to try and drain the fluid without making a mess. So let's give that a shot. All right, so first thing we gotta do is get the spring clip off of the power steering cooler line. And to do this, I like using vice grips because it makes it a little easier. You just clamp down on the clamp and the vice grips usually keep it compressed. Damn it. Oh, test failed successfully. All right, next thing is going to be to disconnect our tie rod ends. In case you couldn't tell, your tie rods shouldn't be leaking. The steering rack leaks. So much for not making a mess. Well, this part's not required, but since the boot was already off, I figured might as well get this off. It's another sign that your tie rods are in bad shape. They don't stay erect. All right, next thing we gotta do is just connect the high pressure line from the steering rack, which is the 14 millimeter wrench. Despite there being a lot of room, you still can't get your hands in there. There we go. Just gotta reach in from the side. High pressure line is disconnected. Now we gotta get the steering shaft off of the rack itself. I think that's also a 14. No, it's not. I lied. It's a 12. Add that to the list at the beginning of the video. All right, now we disconnect it from up here, and this one is a 14. So we're just trying to pull up on the side that's attached to the steering rack, and it should come off. All right, so now it's disconnected. we can unbolt the steering rack. All right, for the rack itself, there's 3 22mm bolts. These can be kind of a pain, so. Or not, that's pretty easy. The nuts are on this side, the bolts. I don't remember if you have to take the entire bolt out because it goes through the subframe. To get the bolts out, you need to remove the steering or the sway bar. But I think you can get the rack out without taking the bolts out. Either way, we're gonna find out. I think that one bolt was holding the whole thing on. Yeah. Now, hopefully this just comes out. Yeah. This one's probably gonna be a little more tricky because this has the inner tie rod ends attached. So I'm gonna have to like thread it through everything. Almost good as new. All right, now I got to reconnect the lines, then move on to the tie rod ends. All right, now we got to reconnect the steering shaft to the steering rack. You want to try and get it as close to centered as possible. Obviously your tie rod ends are adjustable, so there's a little bit of room for error, but yeah, you just want to try and get it as close to center as you can. You could, I don't know, grab this with like some kind of pliers and turn it and count lock to lock and make sure that you're centered. I'm just kind of feeling the dust boots from the edge of the steering rack, and they feel about the same distance apart. I'm just gonna say that's probably good. And then your steering wheel, obviously you want that to be in your straight forward position. Try not to move this because this will move the steering wheel a bit. It should all go together pretty close. I don't know. Well, I was trying to keep this plastic marker thingy in here, but it got kind of lodged between the shaft and this thing, so yeah. Okay, now we gotta go make sure the steering wheel's straight and everything again. Okay. All right, now we need to tighten the steering shaft back to the steering rack, which I already did on the bottom. It's just this 14 mil right here. And check to make sure it doesn't wiggle too much. That should be good. All right, now we're ready for our tie rod ends, which are, I think they're labeled, yeah, left and right. And that means vehicle facing this way, it's left and right. All right, So we have our steering rack pretty well centered. We just need to get our tire to at least look pretty close to in line with the back tire. So otherwise it's gonna drive kind of squirrely because your toe will be off. Too much again. All right, that looks close enough. So now we got to get our tie rod to line up with our knuckle. All right, that looks about right. All right, let's do the same to the other side. All right, got everything bolted up and more or less straight. I just gotta fill her up. Now. Kind of hard to see the fluid level otherwise. This is like super clear. All right, now for the fun part. Getting rid of these god-awful rims and tires. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. All right, that's gonna be it for this episode. Hope this helped you guys out if you guys need to replace your power steering rack. I think that was a nice cheat, not having to remove the bolts and the sway bar when we did our replacement. So the truck feels great. Steering feels much more responsive, and most importantly, it's not puking power steering fluid every time we stop. So that's fantastic. And I'm loving our new wheels. Tell us what you guys think about our T-Heat 37s. Next thing we're probably gonna do is address that front bull bar because like it's pretty hacked together, and I think we could do better. So thanks for watching, and remember, always do your best. Pues ahí está, banda, negro, negro como debe ser. Tal vez parecemos narcos, pero adentro puro chihuahua. Pero ni modo.